Hey, Comic Impact. We're here with Jimmy, who's made Jonah Hex Awesome.
With Justin Gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Moratat.
And Moratat.
And your fabulous color.
Yes, all of the guys. They're all brilliant.
So also Western Summer 2 came out, what, a week and a half ago?
I think last week, right?
Yeah.
Week and a half, yeah.
Depends when I put this up, editing, you know.
I mean, I'm working on issue 10, so...
Oh, wow.
So 2 is like, oh yeah, that thing. Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, back then.
I think issue 3 is much better than 2.
Really?
Yeah, I think 3 is... nothing wrong with 2, but I think 3 is a better book.
Okay.
There you go. Who cares? Anyway.
So are we going to get Jonah in Gotham for a while, or...?
For at least 7 or 8 issues, and then he has to track a bounty to New Orleans. So, and he runs into other DCU characters, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe.
Is he going to go to other DC towns?
Maybe.
Like maybe Metropolis?
Well, yeah, it would be an inevitable thing. Would be Metropolis and some of the legacy with the Kents and all that. So, you know, it's just started. I mean, I'm on issue 10, and there's still some craziness going on. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you guys are writing, are you thinking about the digital format now, like Comixology?
No.
We
We write a clear story, and the artist actually may think of the digital, how it breaks down the panels. We give a lot of freedom. In the scripts, we write the panel descriptions and everything, but we let him decide pacing.
Okay.
And sometimes with pacing is he's thinking about the digital formats, or how it's going to move, how it's going to, you know, turn around. But you can't be obsessed with it, because eventually, right now the digital format accommodates the art. So we don't really have any major problem with that. But that said, I love the digital format. I downloaded the first one just to see how it would sit on my iPad. So it's kind of like, you know, scrolling around. It worked out pretty well. I mean, you know, you look at it and you say there's things you can do specifically for it, but then if you do it specifically for the digital format, then you're dissing the print format. So you gotta find a happy medium.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, exactly. So I was gonna say catch-22. You beat me to it.
So there was like a little backup story in number 2.
Yeah, number 2 had the El Diablo, introduction to El Diablo by Jordi Burnett, who's one of my favorite artists, and that's a 2-part story. Runs in issue 2 and 3, and then issue 4, 5, and 6 is a new character created by Justin and I and Phil Winslate called the Barbary Ghost, which takes place in the Barbary Coast. I can't say that 5 times fast. And basically takes place at the same time in the 1880, 1890 area, and it takes place in San Francisco. So it's a new hero. It's about a Chinese family who comes over and starts a business in the Barbary Coast, and it's based a little bit on history, because we have the gangs there, and we have the you know, the Barbary Coast is famous for all the wrong things: prostitution, crime, any new people coming in, you know, any new race of people, any new type of people coming in had a hard time. It's sort of like what was happening in New York with the Irish and the Italian coming in. So we mirror that a little bit with a Chinese family, and it's basically about a young girl. It's a revenge tale with a young girl and her grandfather. So something happens to her family, and it leaves her and her grandfather to deal with the people that did it to her family. It's done in 3 parts, drawn by Phil Winslate, which has the most historically accurate drawings you've ever seen in a comic. San Francisco looks amazing in this, and it's kind of a neat story. We want to do something different, and DC said, yeah, make up something, so we ran with it.
Cool. And you had Jeff Lemire draw you an issue.
Yeah, Jeff drew the second to the last issue of Jonah Hex. We're a big fan of Jeff, so he said he had time to do it, and we told the tale about Jonah and his father. It's a pretty horrible story in itself, but it makes sense for the character, and Jeff knocked it out of the park. You know, Jeff's just amazing guy, amazing writer, different kind of artist for Jonah, but boy, the fans liked it.
And it works.
Yeah, it works. He's great.
And Captain Brooklyn over Image, right?
Captain Brooklyn, yeah, with Amanda drawing it. It's written by me, Frank Thierry, and in a way Amanda as well. It's a 3-part book about a Brooklyn garbage man who lives with his grandfather, who deals with the grandfather's nurse that takes care of him. Grandfather also has 1,000 stray cats in the house. He needs to help his grandfather, gets in over his head borrowing money to help his grandfather, and gets dumped in the Gowanus Canal in Brooklyn. And he gets superpowers, but they're not really beneficial to his life. They're and it's done very in the feeling of The Pro, in a way, the book The Pro, except it's less about superheroes. It's more about a basic good guy that has so much wrong happen to him that it's exhausting. And it's written by two guys from Brooklyn. Obviously, my accent is, you couldn't cut this thing with a knife. But you know, there's a point where you write what you know, and this character is definitely an amalgam of me, Frank, and Amanda. So much so I can even do this. Hey, we're hanging out to our camera. We could do, that's the cover, and that's the character I was describing. There you go. Amanda's taking on like a very Chuck Jones type style approach to it, and we kind of like it because nobody's really does that kind of work in comics right now. They're all going realistic or total manga, and she kind of found this happy middle style. So it's 3 issues. It'll either sell or not.
I'm sure it'll
whatever. We're happy just to do it. You know, we're actually doing it for ourselves, and then we put it out there, and we hope that it finds an audience.
And that's going to be from Image, right? From
Image Comics, probably when she finishes it, probably April or May, you know, but we're willing to wait. We're not paying her, so who cares?
Are we ever going to see more Time Bomb?
Well, you know, when I wrote that, when Justin and I wrote that, I wrote this giant epic that was so big, and you know, it's a story I had since I was a little kid. Right. And when we fleshed it out, it became this giant monster, 150-page story. If they wanted more, I could do it, but boy, I'd have to be insanely clever, because all my cleverness fell into that one book. Like, I really dumped the clever truck over onto that book. Everything works in the book. It's a flawless time story, time travel story, if you don't think about time travel. If you think too much about it, then it falls apart. Right. But if you just enjoy it and let the story unwind, it actually makes sense. But I would do more, but I would have to have them come back and, you know, have them go back in time and hang out with Jesus or something. It would have to be crazy. Why not?
Exactly. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Yeah.